Have you ever wondered why people watch you so closely, analyzing your every move, yet still fail to understand how you became who you are? Have you noticed how they replay the memories, the choices, the turning points of your life? But somehow the pieces never quite fit together in their minds. Could it be because what you carry is not something ordinary but something eternal? Something no one can counterfeit? Chosen one. The truth is simple yet powerful. God Himself placed a rare and divine gift inside you long before time began. He shaped you in secret, refined you through fire, and raised you up in a way that no human effort can replicate. While others can imitate your style, echo your words, or attempt to mirror your rhythm, they will never touch the source of your light because it flows directly from heaven. That is why you stand out. That is why you intimidate. And that is why no matter what they try, they cannot become you. And here's the beauty of it. This divine gift is not just for survival. It is your calling card to destiny. It will set you apart in rooms where others fade into the background. It will open doors that were bolted shut. It will silence those who doubted you and elevate you to places you never imagined. You, chosen one, are proof that God's hand is still writing history through His people. So I ask you, are you ready to embrace this truth with boldness? If this message is confirming something deep in your spirit, type 777 inches, the comments right now as a declaration that you receive it. And to those of you who have been supporting this channel, whether through a simple like, a share, a comment, or even through super thanks, I cannot say thank you enough. Your presence, your encouragement, your energy mean more than you know. Stay with me, because what comes next will not only reveal why your gift terrifies them, but also how God is about to turn that intimidation into unstoppable influence. Are you ready to see what He's about to do through you? Let's step into it together. God's chosen ones, why does your rare gift feel like a threat to them? My dear chosen one, your gift is not an accident. It is not a coincidence. It is not a random spark thrown into existence without meaning. It is evidence, irrefutable evidence, that heaven saw a gap on the earth, a wound left unattended, and trusted you to carry the balm, the blueprint, the answer. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1-5. That is why the weight you carry is not ordinary. It is as though God Himself engraved into your spirit a seal of divine purpose. And when you step into a room carrying that kind of assignment, hearts tremble and insecure souls twitch. Not because you intended harm, but because your very presence reveals what they have neglected within themselves. They sense that your existence itself is a reminder of heaven's justice, that what they buried cannot remain hidden forever. Does it not amaze you that without saying a word, your silence speaks louder than their noise? What is it about your presence that unsettles them so deeply? Why does your arrival shift the atmosphere? As if a hidden chord has been struck that forces every ear to pay attention. Some gifts are like candles, gentle, familiar, offering warmth to a corner. But your gift is lightning. It does not merely soften the darkness, it tears it apart. For nothing is hidden that will not be made manifest, nor is anything secret that will not be known and come to light. Luke 8:17. That is why their gaze holds both wonder and unease. For your brilliance confronts them with their own dimmed flame. Lightning is not invited, it arrives unannounced, declaring that the night can no longer pretend to be eternal. Could it be that what they call threatening is, in truth, their own fear of change? History itself testifies of this tension. Michelangelo, the Italian sculptor and painter, once declared, "The greater danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." How many tremble when faced with one who dares to embody greatness without apology? Does this not echo your own path? Chosen one, that the very light within you both inspires and unsettles those around you. For when a person's life becomes a masterpiece, it exposes the unfinished sketches of others. And those who fear their incompleteness will sometimes choose resentment instead of rising to their own call. But history has shown us again and again, greatness cannot be hidden, and destiny cannot be silenced. Think of David when he walked into Saul's palace, a shepherd boy with nothing but a harp and a calling. Yet the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and a harmful spirit from the Lord tormented him. 1 Samuel 16:14. David's music soothed, but his presence threatened, for it reminded Saul of what he once carried but had lost. In the same way, your melody, whether through words, vision, or actions, becomes both healing and haunting. Could it be that their resistance is not truly against you, but against the truth of their own abandoned destiny? David was not trying to steal Saul's throne, yet the throne trembled in anticipation of the one anointed to rise. And when people sense a shift they cannot control, they often fight against the very vessel God has chosen to deliver peace. This reality has long been echoed in sacred art. In Johann Sebastian Bach's St. Matthew Passion, the haunting chorus cries, "O Mensch, bewein dein Sünde groß, O man, bewail thy great sin." The music does not flatter, it confronts, unveiling fractures hidden deep within the soul. Your gift carries that same resonance. It pierces, convicts, and awakens, pressing those around you to face what they would rather conceal. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Music like Bach's is timeless because it does not merely entertain, it reveals eternal truth. Likewise, your gift was never meant to entertain the world, but to realign it with heaven. Can you see now why they cannot ignore you? No matter how hard they try, the testimony of Scripture assures you again and again, a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great. Proverbs 18:16. You were entrusted not to diminish yourself for their comfort, but to stand firm in the identity heaven assigned you. So ask yourself, will you silence the thunder God has placed within you? Or will you rise as the lightning you were designed to be? The world is already too saturated with quiet compromises and muted destinies. Yours is not meant to be among them. Chosen one, this is not arrogance. It is alignment. When you rise, you are not only fulfilling your story, but participating in the grand narrative of redemption. Rise now, chosen one. The time for shrinking is over. Walk boldly. For the God who set you apart is the same God who will sustain you. Step forward without apology. For your presence is not a threat, it is a testimony that heaven still chooses, still speaks, and still equips. And if they tremble, let them tremble, for their shaking may be the very beginning of their awakening. The hour has come for you to embody the gift without hesitation, for the world is waiting for what only you can carry. Do not bury what heaven entrusted to you, unleash it, and watch how God's glory unfolds through you. They are both fascinated and unsettled in your presence, and you have likely sensed this countless times. People draw near, not with pure celebration in their hearts, but with the quiet curiosity of those who want to dissect your essence. Friends who once laughed freely at your side suddenly grow distant, as though your growth reminds them of their own stagnation. Strangers cannot help but give you that second glance, their eyes asking silently, "Who are you really?" Such reactions are not accidental. They are the natural consequence of a gift that speaks louder than words. For the gifts and the calling of God are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. Does it not stir something inside you to realize that heaven has marked you in such a way that even those who do not understand you cannot ignore you? It is as if your very being has become a living scroll, a testimony that reads itself before the eyes of the world. This paradox is the mark of being set apart. When the fire within you starts burning visibly, the atmosphere changes, and those around you cannot ignore it. Some are drawn like moths to the flame, compelled by the light they cannot explain, yet others recoil, unsettled because the reflection in your presence confronts them with the emptiness of their own choices. The wicked flee though no one pursues, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Proverbs 28:1. Why is it that boldness triggers fear in the timid, while righteousness makes the compromised restless? Perhaps it is because courage has a sound, a vibration that shakes complacency at its core. When you carry heaven's fire, your silence thunders louder than their arguments, and your very existence becomes a disruption to mediocrity. Nature itself echoes this mystery. The owl, a creature of the night, glides silently through darkness, and while it unsettles smaller animals, it fascinates all who behold its wisdom-filled gaze. In the same way, your gift cuts through spiritual night, stirring both awe and discomfort. Just as the owl's presence reveals vulnerability in its prey, your presence reveals spiritual vulnerability in those around you. And when the light of your assignment shines, it forces others to confront questions they had long buried within themselves. Are they truly living? Or are they merely surviving in borrowed shadows? The owl does not apologize for its vision in the dark, and neither should you. For the clarity you carry is not natural, it is supernatural, sharpened by the Spirit of God to pierce through layers of deception. The scriptures remind us again, "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you." Isaiah 60:1. Light always brings division. Those who welcome it rejoice, but those who resist it feel exposed. The double take of a stranger is not random. It is the soul recognizing something eternal in you. The distance of a friend is not always betrayal. Sometimes it is their inability to bear the weight of your transformation. And the fascination of an enemy is not admiration. It is the grudging acknowledgement that heaven's hand is upon you. Could it be that the unease you trigger in others is a sign that you are walking in alignment with destiny? For what is authentic will always disturb what is artificial, and what is holy will always confront what is hollow. History, too, carries warnings through its villains. Nero, the Roman emperor known for persecuting early Christians, felt so threatened by the light of their faith that he ordered their executions, believing he could silence what burned within them. Yet his cruelty did not extinguish the flame, it exposed his own emptiness. While Nero's name became synonymous with tyranny, the Christians he despised became the very witnesses whose faith reshaped empires. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. How striking it is that history remembers Nero with shame, but remembers the persecuted as eternal symbols of courage. Opposition always ends up amplifying the chosen one, while stripping power from the oppressor. And the same pattern unfolds today. Resistance against you only magnifies the authenticity of what you carry. But chosen one, take courage. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. If their eyes follow you with suspicion, let it be a reminder that the voice of your gift has risen above the level of whispers. If their hearts grow distant, let it testify that the road you walk cannot be shared by everyone. And if their questions linger in the silence, who are you really? Let the answer thunder not from your mouth but from your life. You are the evidence of God's unshakable choice. You were not chosen to blend in but to stand out. Not to be hidden but to be revealed. What they call strange is what heaven calls sacred. And what they call threatening is what God calls unstoppable. Rise now. Stand tall. The fascination and the unease around you are proof of the weight you carry. Do not shrink so that others may feel secure. Do not dim the flame entrusted to you by heaven. You were chosen to disturb the darkness, to awaken sleeping souls, to embody the voice of eternity in a fragile world. Step forward with unshakable courage. For the world must see that you are not here by chance, you are here by divine design. And when you rise, heaven rises with you, shaking every chain, silencing every lie, and proving once and for all that the chosen cannot be hidden. It announces you before your mouth has uttered a single word. The atmosphere shifts as though a new frequency has entered the room, vibrating at a pitch that cannot be silenced. The envy you encounter, do not receive it as a personal wound. It is proof living. Undeniable proof that what you carry cannot be ignored. But each one has his own gift from God. One of one kind and one of another. 1 Corinthians 7:7. Envy does not spring from nothing. It springs from recognition. From the unwilling acknowledgement that your presence disrupts the quiet illusions they built for themselves. Does it not strike you as ironic that those who accuse you of arrogance are often the very ones shaken by the authority written into your soul? And is it not true that authority requires no defense? It simply reveals itself by existing. You have become a mirror people never asked for, but one they cannot escape. Without speaking, your life reflects their own choices back at them, like the polished bronze mirrors once described in Exodus. When the women brought their mirrors to the tabernacle for God's dwelling, Exodus 38:8. Your existence becomes that same unyielding surface, revealing, confronting, exposing, and for some, that reflection is unbearable. How many times have you sensed someone withdrawing? Not because you wronged them, but because in you they saw the evidence of paths not taken, callings neglected, courage abandoned. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man who looks intently at his natural face in a mirror. James 1:23. The mirror does not lie, it simply tells the truth no one wants to confront. And that truth unsettles more deeply than any insult you could speak. In architecture, there is a principle called structural resonance, where vibrations travel through stone and steel until every part of the building trembles. Your gift carries the same resonance. What you carry shakes the foundations of complacency in others, forcing them to feel the cracks they denied. This is why their envy grows. It is not envy of you, but envy of the stability, courage, and divine design you embody. It is not unlike the way cathedrals were built, with flying buttresses, external supports that allowed impossible heights. Your life becomes a buttress to heavenly architecture, rising taller than others imagined possible. And if they say you found shortcuts, it is only because they cannot fathom that such endurance could exist in human form. Divine architecture often looks impossible until it stands completed before human eyes. The scriptures declare, "Now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face." 1 Corinthians 13:12. You are a living demonstration of this truth, a mirror of clarity that some cannot bear. Instead of facing their reflection, they invent stories that you were given secret help, that unseen shortcuts smoothed your way. But you know well that the anointing does not flow from shortcuts. It flows from scars, from nights of wrestling like Jacob, from fires survived like the 3 Hebrew boys in Babylon. Have you not realized that the lies they speak are actually confessions of what they wish were true for themselves? The very myths they craft about you expose their own longing for a strength they did not cultivate. There was once a woman named Clara, an unassuming tailor in a small town, whose dedication to her craft drew suspicion. Customers marveled at her skill, whispering that she must have stolen patterns or received secret training. The truth was simpler. She spent years sewing by candlelight, teaching her hands discipline when no one watched. In time, her reputation soared beyond her village, while her critics remained trapped in their own excuses. Clara's life reflects the same truth yours does. Envy is rarely about what you did, but about what others refuse to endure. Do not be surprised, brothers, that the world hates you. 1 John 3:13. Ordinary faithfulness often looks extraordinary only to those who abandoned their own journey long ago. So, chosen one, let their envy testify on your behalf. Let their whispers confirm that the weight you carry is undeniable. You are not here to soothe fragile egos. You are here to awaken a sleeping world. You are not a distortion, but a revelation. And if the mirror offends, let it offend. For you were not crafted to flatter, but to reflect the glory of God. Rise above their fabrications. For every stone they throw only proves the strength of the foundation beneath your feet. Walk boldly, for heaven has announced you long before your lips spoke. And now, the time has come. Stand tall, stand true, stand chosen. For if heaven has chosen you, no earthly envy can rewrite your destiny. God placed inside you something that no human system, no institution, no critic can manufacture. It is not man-made. It is heaven-forged, a deposit from eternity itself. Your gift has been there from the very beginning, but it took the fire of affliction to bring it to the surface. For you, O God, have tested us. You have tried us as silver is tried. Psalm 66:10. Fire does not destroy authenticity, it reveals it. Pressure does not crush the chosen, it refines them. And now that what was hidden in you has become visible, it cannot be shaken, it cannot be stolen, it cannot be denied. Have you noticed how those who tried to copy you never succeeded? As if they were reaching for a flame they could not hold. What you carry is not fragile, it is forged. Rumors may rise like smoke, but smoke cannot survive the wind. Attempts to discredit you always collapse under their own weakness. Because no weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Do you not see how lies eventually starve themselves of air, while truth continues to breathe? Those who try to outshine you end up dimming themselves. Because authenticity does not compete, it simply endures. When Joseph was thrown into a pit by his brothers, their intention was destruction. But what you meant for evil, God meant for good. Genesis 50:20. The fire of betrayal only served to unveil the dreamer in him, the ruler destined to rise. Does your own journey not echo his, that the more they pushed you down, the more unshakable the foundation beneath your feet became? The intimidation you provoke is not because you are loud or demanding of attention. In truth, it is the opposite. You have been consistent in silence, excellent in shadows, faithful in obscurity. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. Luke 16:10. Excellence in the hidden place is what builds your authority in the open, and yet the world cannot comprehend how power grows stronger in quietness, how strength is woven in stillness. Why do they fear you when you have not threatened them, when all you did was remain steadfast in your lane? Could it be that consistency itself is your crown, that the very discipline they dismissed became the fortress that now shields you? The Italian painter Caravaggio once wrote through his art that light only becomes meaningful against the backdrop of darkness. His masterpieces, drenched in shadow, yet pierced by rays of brilliance, remind us that glory revealed is most powerful when tested by obscurity. In the same way, your silence has been a canvas, your shadows a stage, and the light of your authenticity now bursts forth undeniable. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60:1. Have you realized that your strength has never been in chasing the spotlight, but in becoming the unmovable truth that no darkness can erase? This has been sung through history's sacred echoes. In Handel's Messiah, the chorus declares, "For the Lord God omnipotent reigneth." The power of those words is not in noise, but in resonance, a sustained authority that continues long after the last note is struck. Your life is like that chorus. Chosen one, you are not here to compete in noise, but to reign in resonance. And while critics tire themselves with chatter, your endurance becomes the sound they cannot silence. Is it not astounding that heaven's melody is carried through you, not because of volume, but because of authenticity? So rise, chosen one. Stand unafraid. What you carry cannot be manufactured, manipulated, or mimicked. It is divine. You are not fragile. You are forged. You are not counterfeit. You are authentic. The world has already tried to bury you under falsehoods, yet the fire only refined you into a vessel unbreakable. Stand now, because the shadows have done their work. Walk boldly, because the silence has crowned you with strength. And know this: no rumor, no rival, no resistance can erase the truth of who you are. You are the evidence of heaven's design, enduring, unshakable, chosen. They can no longer twist the narrative, nor can they pretend blindness to what heaven has made plain. The evidence of your gift thunders too loudly to be denied. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. That is the divine irony. Those who once tried to silence you now stand as unwilling witnesses, acknowledging the reality they cannot erase. Does it not stir something inside you that the very people who dismissed you now secretly crave what you carry? They want the fruit without enduring the season of planting, the crown without the scars, the glory without the groaning. But the Lord who entrusted you with this weight does not distribute it cheaply. It is the treasure hidden in a field, revealed only to the one willing to pay the cost. And the longer they deny it, the clearer heaven makes it, until their resistance becomes nothing more than a public confirmation of your authenticity. They long for the results of your gift without embracing the responsibility that comes with it. They want recognition, but not refinement, applause, but not the altar, the spotlight of the stage. but not the surrender of the secret place. Yet, to whom much is given, much will be required. Luke 12:48. Is this not the dividing line between the chosen and the crowd, that one submits to the fire while the other flees from it? How many hearts envy the diamond's sparkle, yet refuse the crushing pressure that formed it? Could it be that their frustration with you is not truly jealousy of your success, but conviction over their own avoidance of sacrifice? This is why your endurance seems threatening. You are living proof that greatness is not inherited but forged, not purchased but purified. And when others realize they avoided the refining, your consistency becomes their greatest rebuke. Creation itself teaches this truth. The eagle soars above the storm, not because it avoids the wind, but because it uses the wind to rise higher. Your gift is like that eagle, proven not in calm skies but in violent winds. They who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. Isaiah 40:31. The stage they desire is nothing without the storm you endured. Can they not see that your elevation was not luck, but alignment with divine design? Just as the roots of a tree drive deeper in the midst of drought to find hidden water, your spirit drew closer to God in the seasons of lack. And now the fruit is undeniable. The storm that should have destroyed you became the very lift that carried you higher. And that paradox terrifies those who cannot explain it. But Scripture also warns us through the downfall of those who pursued position without submission. King Saul, once anointed, became consumed with jealousy when David's gift shone brighter. He wanted the throne without the heart of surrender, the authority without obedience. His end was tragic, abandoned by the God who had once raised him up, destroyed on the battlefield by the very enemies he once could have defeated. The Lord has sought out a man after his own heart. 1 Samuel 13:14. Is this not a sobering reminder that gifts without surrender eventually collapse under their own weight? Those who envy what you carry but despise the surrender it requires will meet the same end, self-destruction through pride. And while they attempt to control the throne of perception, God is quietly anointing the next David in the fields. Unseen but unstoppable. And still, envy drives many to imitate what they do not understand. They want the fragrance of anointing, but despise the crushing of the olive that produces the oil. They want the stage, but cannot endure the silence where God shapes his vessels. They want the resurrection, but resist the cross. If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. Luke 9:23. Why do they envy the resurrection life in you while refusing the death you embraced? It is the contradiction of human pride. They desire the harvest without planting the seed. Yet what they fail to realize is that every shortcut they take leads not to glory but to collapse. What they envy in you is not the results. It is the unseen years of discipline, tears, and surrender that produce them. So Rees, chosen one, your gift is undeniable because it is forged in surrender, not manufactured by pride. Do not bow to the envy of those who wish for your results, but despise your process. Stand boldly, for heaven has certified what man cannot counterfeit. You are not here to compete for recognition. You are here to carry a weight only the surrendered can bear. And when you rise, rise not in arrogance, but in authority, knowing that every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights. James 1:17. Lift your head, chosen one. The time of hiding is over. Stand as the undeniable testimony that God entrusts his heaviest crowns only to those willing to bend their knees in surrender. For if heaven has declared it, no hand on earth can reverse it. That is why you were hidden for so long. sheltered beneath the silence of obscurity. What felt like delay was not denial, it was divine preservation. He has made everything beautiful in its time, Ecclesiastes 3:11. The waiting was not wasted. It was a careful design to protect the weight of what you carry until you were strong enough to steward it. Like a seed pressed beneath soil, invisible yet alive. Your gift was developing beneath the surface. Have you ever wondered why the season felt stretched longer than you imagined? It was because heaven was not preparing the stage, it was preparing you. The timeline was never late, it was precise, crafted like the gears of a divine clock. Each tick of waiting, aligning you closer to your appointed moment. So when you sense the tension in the room, when eyes shift and silence thickens, remember this truth: it is not about them being against you. It is about them being exposed by you. For the Word of God is alive and active. Sharper than any double-edged sword, it judges the thoughts and attitudes of the heart. Hebrews 4:12. Your presence carries a similar weight, revealing what is genuine and stripping away the veneers people work so hard to maintain. Why do they appear uncomfortable around you when you have spoken no words? Could it be that the light of your authenticity unmasks their hidden shadows, forcing them to confront the gap between their confession and their reality? You are not their enemy, yet your gift dismantles their disguises. Your gift is a mirror that cannot flatter. It separates the authentic from the artificial with the precision of a scalpel in the hands of a surgeon. This is the architecture of heaven at work, the scaffolding of divine design, removing the temporary supports once used to prop up false images. By their fruit you will recognize them, Matthew 7:16. In physics, there is a concept called resonance frequency, when an external sound matches the natural vibration of an object. It causes the object to shake until it breaks if unstable. Your spirit carries that resonance. It shakes the unstable, not to harm them, but to expose whether their foundation is true or false. Have you realized yet that what unsettles others is not your strength, but the revelation of their weakness in your presence? This truth has been lived out quietly in ordinary lives. David Ortiz, a baker in a small mountain village, shared once how his quiet diligence exposed others around him. For years he worked before dawn, kneading dough in solitude, until his bread became the very life of his town. Competitors accused him of unfair advantages, but the truth was simple. His consistency exposed their shortcuts. His story reminds us of your journey. Excellence in hidden seasons becomes undeniable when revealed. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely, Proverbs 10:9. And when integrity enters a room, those without it feel threatened, not by malice, but by exposure. This is why the tension follows you. Your gift is a light, and light does not negotiate with darkness. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. Your timeline was delayed so that when you finally emerged, your authenticity could not be shaken, and your endurance could not be denied. So now, chosen one, rises without apology. Stand firm in the truth that you are not here to blend in, but to unveil. You are not here to compete, but to convict. Not here to flatter, but to reveal. Lift your head high, for you are the evidence that heaven hides what it values most until the appointed hour. Now that the covering has lifted, walk boldly, because the world must see the difference between what is artificial and what is eternal. It exposes what many try to hide. It reveals who has been building with the steel of faith and who has been constructing hollow facades of performance. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. That revelation unsettles people, because it forces them to see that some towers look tall but have no depth, while others, though unseen, are rooted so deeply they cannot fall. Have you ever wondered why certain people avoid your presence when you have done nothing against them? It is because your authenticity uncovers their illusions, and the contrast between what is real and what is artificial leaves them shaken. The more your gift shines, the harder it becomes for others to pretend. But do not let their unrest make you restless. Their discomfort is not your responsibility, nor is their unease a signal for you to withdraw. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Have you noticed how quickly people will project their own insecurity onto you, as if blaming you for the truth they refuse to confront? Yet, your assignment is not to carry their burden of denial. Your assignment is to carry the mantle God placed upon you. Just as Noah kept building the ark despite years of mockery, you must continue developing what God entrusted, even when others do not understand. Do you realize that your consistency is the very evidence that heaven's hand is guiding you? Your calling is not to defend your gift, it is to develop it. Do not neglect your gift, which was given you through prophecy. 1 Timothy 4:14. Defense reacts to critics, but development responds to God. Those who spend their energy justifying themselves rarely grow, while those who quietly invest in their gift eventually stand as undeniable proof. Michel de Montaigne, the French philosopher, once wrote, "The greatest thing in the world is to know how to belong to oneself." Is this not what your journey shows, that when you stop wasting time defending, you start multiplying, and your fruit becomes the only defense you need? Your role is not to shrink so that others feel comfortable. Shrinking only teaches the world that intimidation works, and silence only emboldens falsehood. Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16. Have you ever noticed how those who fear your boldness are often those who have never dared to step into their own? The truth is, comfort zones create prisons, but courage builds pathways. By refusing to diminish yourself, you become a map for others who have been waiting for permission to rise. Why should you dim the fire that God Himself kindled? Your role is to stand, so that others know what is possible. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1-9. The music of Johann Sebastian Bach, in his Magnificat, lifts this same truth in sound, its soaring notes proclaiming glory, not in whispers, but in bold declarations. Your life must be the same, not a muted echo, but a clear testimony. Standing tall does not mean arrogance, it means alignment with destiny. Have you realized that by standing, you are giving silent permission for others to stand too? Your very posture becomes prophecy, and your courage becomes contagious. So rise, chosen one. The world has seen enough of empty performances and shallow appearances. Let them be unsettled if they must, but do not abandon your assignment. Your gift is not for hiding, it is for building, for blazing a trail, for proving that surrender produces strength. Stand tall, because when you stand, heaven's blueprint becomes visible on earth. Do not shrink, do not apologize, and do not delay. This is your hour. Walk boldly, for your very existence testifies that God is still raising vessels who cannot be shaken. Heaven did not ignite this fire within you simply to keep you warm or safe. No, this fire was entrusted to you as a force, a torch meant to guide paths, a blaze fierce enough to burn away deception, a flame destined to clear space where truth can stand tall. Is not my word like fire, declares the Lord, and like a hammer that breaks a rock in pieces, Jeremiah 23:29. That divine fire within you was never meant to be ornamental. It was planted to be transformative. Does it not astonish you that in every season of trial, the flame only burned brighter, refusing to be extinguished? And can you see that your survival itself is proof that this fire has a mission far beyond your own protection, whether they admit it or not? Even those who resist you will eventually be touched by the brightness you carry. They may squint in denial, but your light exposes what the shadows concealed. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1-5. How many times have you noticed that those who once mocked you quietly return later, searching for the very wisdom they rejected? Could it be that their opposition was never truly against you, but against the conviction your fire awakened inside them, like a lighthouse on a stormy shore? Your brightness benefits even the sailor who once cursed the beam for blinding his eyes. Resistance may be loud, but transformation whispers in the silence of their hearts when truth finally sets them free. Understand this clearly. The gift inside you is not decoration. It is not a trinket, nor an accessory meant to impress spectators. It is weaponry, forged to tear down strongholds of lies. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, 2 Corinthians 10-4. Why then should you shrink from wielding what heaven gave you? The gift you carry has always been a sword, a shield, and a flame. In nature, fire purifies gold, clears forests of dead growth, and sparks the birth of new life from seeds that can only open under heat. Your fire functions the same way it destroys what is false, but it also creates room for new beginnings. Is it not remarkable that what others fear in you may be the very thing that heals them? This gift is not only weaponry, it is also healing. But for you who revere my name, the Sun of Righteousness will rise with healing in its rays. Malachi 4-2. The same fire that burns away illusions carries warmth for the broken, light for the lost, and strength for the weary. You have seen this, haven't you? Those who once resisted you later found comfort in your words, your prayers, your endurance. Just as a forest fire releases nutrients that nourish fresh soil, your trials release testimonies that feed the hungry in spirit. Can you now grasp that the very pain you carried became the medicine God intended for others? History warns us of what happens when fire is resisted instead of embraced. Emperor Diocletian of Rome, furious at the growth of Christianity, unleashed brutal persecution to extinguish it. Yet his attempt to smother the flame only caused it to spread with unstoppable force, until Rome itself was transformed by the very faith he hated. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done. Genesis 50-20. Is this not proof that no opposition can succeed against a fire God has kindled? Those who fight the light only hasten the day when the light reveals their futility. Finally, understand that your gift is not just fire, not just weaponry, not just healing. It is instruction. It is blueprint. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119-105. You carry within you a design, a map, a living pattern that shows others what is possible when heaven's fire takes root in human vessels. Why else do people study you? Sometimes in admiration, sometimes in envy. It is because your life has become an open scroll, a diagram of faith in motion. And does it not humble you to know that your journey itself has become God's curriculum for others? So rise, chosen one. Do not tame the fire. Do not disguise it as decoration. Let it roar. Let it shine. Let it heal and teach and blaze. The world does not need another performance, it needs fire from heaven. And you have been chosen to carry it. Stand now, for the flame inside you is undeniable, unquenchable, unexplainable. You are the torchbearer of your generation, and your fire is the evidence that God still lights paths, still burns lies, still clears space for His truth. The reason they are so unsettled is because they cannot predict your next move. They cannot measure the trajectory of a gift that does not belong to earthly systems, a path that cannot be charted by human mathematics. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delights in His way. Psalm 37:23. Heaven already mapped it out long before you were born. Your steps are calibrated. Your influence is scheduled, and the unveiling of your destiny has already begun. Have you noticed the weight in the atmosphere lately? The sense that something beyond explanation is pressing closer. That is not your imagination, it is alignment. Your dreams have grown more vivid because heaven communicates in symbols and visions. Even your body feels the tension because your spirit knows what the flesh has yet to fully grasp, that you are on the verge of a season no one can control. Your gift is entering a season of undeniable exposure, and when it does, the same voices that dismissed you will scramble to explain you. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60:1. But explanation will not be possible, because you cannot explain divine rarity, you can only witness it. Why do they try so hard to analyze what was never theirs to manage? Why do they grasp at human logic when the blueprint of heaven is unfolding before their eyes, like a rare star emerging in the night sky? Your brilliance cannot be captured by ordinary language. It can only be acknowledged in awe. In architecture, there is a concept known as structural tension, where the unseen pull of forces allows a structure, like a suspension bridge, to remain standing under immense weight. Your gift operates the same way. The tension you feel is not collapse, it is supported in motion. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. Do you realize that heaven has been engineering you with invisible cables of discipline, prayer, and endurance? Those unseen lines now hold you as you step into greater visibility. The very heaviness you feel is not weakness, but divine reinforcement, preparing you for the weight of exposure. This truth is reflected in the testimony of ordinary people. Elena Ruiz, a school teacher from a forgotten village, once said, "I thought my years in obscurity were wasted until I realized they had trained my voice to carry beyond the classroom." Her quiet faithfulness in hidden years became the reason her influence later touched thousands of children and parents alike. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Zechariah 4:10. Have you noticed the same pattern in your own journey, that the shadows were not punishment, but preparation? And when the unveiling happens, envy will rise like smoke. Critics will try to label you, categorize you, and diminish what they cannot control. Yet, what is rare cannot be explained, only witnessed. Now, to each one, the manifestation of the Spirit is given for the common good. 1 Corinthians 12-7. Why waste your time arguing with envy when God himself has already validated you? Why dilute your fire to make others comfortable when the fire was given not for comfort, but for conquest? Nature itself confirms this. A volcano does not apologize for erupting, and yet from its fire, new soil is created that nourishes entire landscapes. Your eruption will disturb, yes, but it will also fertilize the ground for future generations. So rise, chosen one. The weight you feel is heaven's architecture pressing into alignment. The dreams that startle you at night are announcements of what is coming. The heaviness in your body is proof that eternity is leaning into your present. Do not argue with envy. Do not dilute your flame. You are not here to fit into their categories. You are here to redefine them. Stand tall, for your gift is about to be unveiled. And when it is, the world will not be able to explain it. They will only be able to witness that heaven touched earth through you. Do not question the value of your gift simply because others tremble in its presence. Fear does not diminish the worth of what heaven entrusted. It confirms it. For God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. Romans 11:29. If your gift intimidates them, it is not because of arrogance in you, but because it reminds them of the God who trusted you enough to carry such weight. Have you noticed how often the discomfort in others says more about their hidden insecurities than about your actions? And can you see how their reaction, though painful, is itself evidence that you are carrying your assignment well? The weight you hold is not accidental, it is a divine strategy. Their fear is a silent confession that they see something in you they cannot manufacture. And the very trembling they feel is a prophecy in disguise. What shakes them now will soon transform them later. When heaven places a rare gift inside someone, it is not merely to make them different, but to make them disruptive. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Disruption here is not chaos, it is reformation. It is the shattering of stale patterns, the rewriting of old rules, the piercing of atmospheres that have grown stagnant. Why would heaven waste such a rare deposit on someone unwilling to challenge the familiar? Is it not true that history itself moves forward whenever one voice dares to rise against the inertia of conformity? Just as Moses' staff disrupted Pharaoh's empire and Elijah's prayers disrupted the drought, your gift is designed to interrupt the cycles that keep others bound. And the disruption you carry is not destruction for destruction's sake. It is holy interruption, a divine recalibration that tears down what is false so that truth can breathe again. And when your gift begins to manifest in its fullness, every counterfeit begins to tremble. Therefore, since we are receiving a kingdom that cannot be shaken, let us be thankful, and so worship God acceptably with reverence and awe. For our God is a consuming fire. Hebrews 12:28-29. The false can mimic appearance, but it cannot withstand authenticity. Does it not amaze you that your very presence has the power to disturb systems built on deception? This is why rooms that once felt comfortable with pretense now feel heavy. When you enter the atmosphere itself is forced to choose between truth and illusion. A mask may deceive men for a while, but it cannot stand in the presence of fire. And isn't it striking that your silence alone can do more damage to deception than their loudest lies ever could? This truth has been witnessed by thinkers and leaders beyond the church. Václav Havel, the Czech writer and later president, once said during his struggle against oppression, "Truth and love must prevail over lies and hatred." His presence disrupted an empire built on deceit, not with chaos, but with clarity. Isn't this exactly what your gift does? bringing an atmosphere of truth that shakes the foundations of deception, like a tuning fork struck in silence. Your gift sends vibrations that unsettle what is false until it either aligns with truth or collapses. And in the same way, Havel's words carried frequency that toppled structures larger than himself. Your life carries resonance that dismantles what resists God's order. The trembling around you is not a sign of weakness. It is proof that heaven has set your frequency loose in the earth. Art itself has sung this mystery. In Handel's Messiah, the chorus thundered, "And he shall reign forever and ever," disrupting centuries of tradition with a sound so powerful it moved kings to stand. Your gift carries that same essence. It is not mere decoration, but divine disruption. Why should you apologize when heaven designed you to echo eternity into temporary structures, like Handel's chorus? Your presence is not background music, it is the declaration of a new order. Have you realized that sometimes your very existence is a song heaven is singing through you, and though others may resist the sound, they cannot stop the vibration. It reverberates until every false throne is forced to bow. So, chosen one, do not shrink back. Do not water down your fire to make others feel less uncomfortable. Your gift was never meant to be domesticated. It was meant to shift atmospheres, rewrite rules, and usher in truth. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Rise and walk boldly into the spaces that shake at your presence. For if deception trembles when you enter, it is not because you are dangerous, it is because heaven has made you disruptive in the holiest way. Your gift is a living prophecy. Your presence, a disruption ordained from eternity. Stand tall, and know that the weight you carry is not a burden, but a crown forged in fire. That is why certain people avoid locking eyes with you when you speak. It is not your tone or your posture that unsettles them, it is the authority resonating through the gift you carry. For he taught them as one who had authority, and not as their scribes. Matthew 7:29. They aren't truly reacting to you, they are reacting to the presence of heaven woven into your words. Have you noticed how silence often grows heavier when you enter? As if unseen currents shift the atmosphere itself. And do you realize that their unease is not rejection, but confirmation that you carry a weight they cannot ignore? The weight you carry unsettles the atmosphere precisely because it was never designed to blend in, it was designed to govern. Their inability to meet your gaze is not weakness in you, but exposure in them. What terrifies them is not what you said, but what your very being represents, a reminder that authority rooted in God cannot be counterfeited. The unsettling part for them is that your gift makes what was invisible suddenly undeniable. Everything exposed by the light becomes visible, and everything that is illuminated becomes a light. Ephesians 5:13. They may never confess their intimidation or jealousy, but the proof reveals itself in small, fractured ways. Why do their voices stumble when affirming you? Why do their smiles falter when your name is praised? You carry a radiance that convicts, and because they cannot contain it, they try to escape it. But light never dims because someone turns away. It continues its work regardless of who embraces it or resists it. Their withdrawal does not reduce the brilliance of your calling. It magnifies the shadows that were hiding all along. Isn't it revealing that their discomfort intensifies not when you strive, but when you simply stand in truth? Instead, their discomfort shows up in sideways comments, in support that feels diluted, in quiet withdrawal that cuts deeper than outright rejection. The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. Their avoidance whispers what their mouths refuse to say. that they feel smaller in the presence of what heaven entrusted to you? Isn't it revealing how the same people who once cheered for you begin to shrink back when your gift grows louder than their excuses? And isn't it striking that their distance carries the same weight as their words, proof that your presence is undeniable? Those half smiles and guarded tones are confessions in disguise. Their silence speaks volumes, not because you sought validation, but because the spirit inside you magnifies what they have tried to minimize. And in the end, their withdrawal validates that heaven has made you uncontainable. Creation itself teaches this lesson. A sunflower does not beg for attention, it rises tall, following the sun, and in doing so, casts shadows that make the weeds beneath it restless. Your gift behaves the same way. Its upward pull toward God naturally unsettles what clings to the ground. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Proverbs 4:18. Why then should you lower your head when heaven has designed you to rise? Let the shadows fidget, the flower still follows the light. The weeds may complain, but they cannot stop the sunflower from turning toward its source. Likewise, your spirit was wired to seek its origin, and in doing so, it exposes what refuses to grow. Their restlessness is not a sign that you are wrong, it is a signal that you are aligned with heaven's light. History also records what happens when people resist what is holy. Pharaoh, hardened by pride, refused to acknowledge the authority carried by Moses. Every plague that fell on Egypt was not merely punishment, it was revelation. A stripping away of illusions until Pharaoh could no longer deny the God Moses represented. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let the Israelites go. Exodus 10:20. And what was the end? His empire broken, his army swallowed by the sea. Do you see how resisting God's authority never weakens the vessel, but destroys the one who resists? Pharaoh's downfall is a warning written in history. Pride never silences truth. It only accelerates judgment. And just as the Red Sea swallowed his chariots, so too will the waters of time swallow every scheme set against your destiny. And yes, you will feel it. You will feel the weight of eyes measuring you, waiting, almost longing for you to stumble so they can feel safe again. But do not let their silence trick you into doubting. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed. Isaiah 54:17. Why would you shrink because others secretly hope you fail? Why would you question what God Himself has certified? The truth is this: even their withdrawal, their hesitation, their sideways remarks, every one of them is evidence. Their reaction is not your burden to carry, it is heaven's stamp that your gift has already pierced their atmosphere. Their whispers are shadows fleeing from the light, and their avoidance is proof that the weight of your authority is too heavy for deception to bear. Do you not see that their unease is not the end of you, but the confirmation that you have already begun to rewrite the room? So rise, chosen one. Do not confuse silence with defeat. Do not confuse withdrawal with absence. Your gift was never meant to blend into rooms built on comfort. It was meant to disrupt them with light. Stand firm, speak boldly, and carry the authority of heaven unapologetically. For your presence is not a mistake, it is prophecy. And when deception trembles, when eyes look away, when whispers scatter behind your back, remember this: you are proof that light cannot be ignored. Stand, for the world needs the disruption only your gift can bring. And as you rise, know this: your authority is not borrowed. It is branded into you by the God who called you before the foundations of the world. Their reaction is evidence. If nothing was inside you, there would be no tremble outside them. By their fruit you will recognize them. Matthew 7:16. People are not unsettled by what is ordinary. It is only what is undeniable that disrupts their comfort. And undeniable is exactly what your gift has become. Have you noticed how your very existence alone makes some people uneasy? Why does your silence speak louder than their shouting? It is not because you wronged them, but because your life is a living reminder of what obedience looks like. Their spirits feel exposed, because where they compromised, you stayed consistent. Where they chased applause, you pursued purpose. Where they settled, you surrendered to the fire. And isn't it striking that the louder they try to resist you, the more their trembling reveals the truth they cannot hide? What shakes them is not your personality, it is the eternal fingerprint of God resting upon you. While they compromised, you chose faithfulness. Be faithful unto death, and I will give you the crown of life. Revelation 2:10. While they rushed, you waited patiently on the Lord. While they took shortcuts, you endured the fire that purified what they feared to face. Can you see the contrast more clearly now? Isn't it powerful that patience has become your weapon? While their haste betrayed their weakness, your fruit is visible now. And that fruit unsettles those who traded long-term glory for temporary ease. Their discomfort is not an accusation against you, it is a confession of what they abandoned. The beauty of your endurance is that it now speaks a language louder than their excuses. And when they see your harvest, it exposes the barren fields of their compromise, leaving them with no defense but envy. Science itself confirms this truth. In physics, resonance occurs when a frequency meets an object's natural vibration, amplifying it until the hidden structure is revealed. Your gift is that frequency when you enter the room. It shakes what is unstable, exposing whether the foundation is strong or weak. For no one can lay any foundation other than the one already laid, which is Jesus Christ. 1 Corinthians 3:11. Isn't it striking that what feels like tension around you is not chaos but clarity? Like an architect testing the load of a bridge before declaring it safe. Your presence reveals which lives were built on shortcuts and which were built on stone. And the more resistance you encounter, the more proof that heaven's vibration is passing through you. You are not the cause of their shaking. You are the signal that reveals whether they were built to last or destined to collapse. This is the same pattern ordinary people have lived. Mateo Alvarez, a humble fisherman from a small coastal town, endured ridicule for years because he refused to sell his catch dishonestly. His neighbors laughed at his patience. But when the storms came and their boats failed, his vessel alone remained seaworthy. His integrity became their refuge. Whoever walks in integrity walks securely. Proverbs 10:9. Do you realize your life tells the same story? That while others mocked, your endurance has now become a testimony they cannot dismiss. Their reaction to you is not hatred, it is the ache of regret for what they could have been. And like Mateo's boat that endured the storm, your obedience has become a shelter others will one day depend upon. What they once despised, they will secretly run toward when their own shortcuts fail them. And here is the unshakable truth. No scheme against your gift will ever stand. No weapon that is fashioned against you shall succeed. And every tongue that rises against you in judgment, you shall condemn. Isaiah 54:17. They can plot. They can gossip. They can withdraw, criticize, or hope for your downfall. But their words are like arrows fired into the wind. They never strike their target because the hand of heaven shields what he ordained. Why should you tremble when God himself is your fortress? Why let the noise of their envy drown out the roar of God's promises? Their schemes are but shadows against the eternal light that surrounds you. And the more they try to weaken you, the more heaven strengthens your frame, reinforcing you like steel forged in fire. Their resistance only sharpens the weapon you have become in the hand of God. So rise, chosen one. Do not dilute your authority to make others comfortable. Do not question the trembles you cause, for they are confirmation of the fire inside you. Stand firm in the evidence that obedience always outlasts compromise, that patience always outweighs shortcuts, and that faithfulness always bears fruit. Your life is proof that what God ordains cannot be undone by human hands. Walk boldly, because your very existence declares that heaven's plan is unstoppable. And when they whisper, when they plot, when they withdraw, remember this: their reaction is not your downfall, it is your evidence. The crown of life is already being shaped upon your head, and your footsteps echo as prophecy in a world desperate for truth. They can gather in circles, whisper in shadows, and form alliances to question your worth. But what you carry has already been pressure tested in secret places where no one else was watching. It was formed not in applause, but in affliction, not in popularity, but in fire. But he knows the way that I take when he has tested me. I will come forth as gold. Job 23:10. Isn't it striking how heat cannot undo what heat itself has already forged? The very trials that others assumed would destroy you became the conditions that proved you. Have you noticed how your survival unsettles them? Because your scars tell a story their shortcuts could never imitate, and as those scars harden into armor, they serve as undeniable evidence that heaven invests only in what it intends to release with authority. Every mark on your soul is no longer a weakness, but a seal of divine ownership. The season you are stepping into is not simply about being visible, it is about being usable. Because heaven does not polish vessels for decoration, it prepares them for deployment. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand. Ephesians 2:10. Do you feel the weight of that truth? That your life is not an ornament but an instrument? Many display their talents like trophies on a shelf. But what you carry was never meant to collect dust. It was meant to pierce darkness, to repair fractures, to open doors others thought sealed. Doesn't it stir something deep inside when you realize you were never prepared for a platform, but for a purpose? And when the platform finally arrives, it is not the stage that defines you, but the eternal assignment that steadies your steps. Your gift was designed to echo through generations, not just to impress a moment. For the broken, what you hold will be healing that salves wounds the world declared incurable. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. For the confused, your gift will be clarity, a compass pointing north when every map has failed. For the hopeless, you are living proof that God still breathes upon the earth, and that his spirit still chooses flesh as his dwelling. Have you sensed how some recoil at this, while others lean in desperately, longing for what you carry? Their envy is the noise, but the ones waiting to be transformed are the signal. The very places you once wept in silence will soon become altars where others find deliverance. And every testimony that emerges from your obedience will be a monument that no critic can tear down. What once was private agony will become public healing. Theologians once said that envy is the rust of the soul, corroding from the inside. And yet, In contrast, your gift operates like living water. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. John 7:38. You are not called to focus on the rust of their hearts, but on the rivers flowing from yours. Isn't it powerful that while they gather to dissect you, heaven gathers to send you? While their words are designed to fracture, your very presence is designed to mend. Which voice will you choose to believe, the circle of critics or the chorus of angels declaring, "Holy, holy, holy"? And when you recognize the difference, you will realize that their rust is temporal, but your rivers are eternal. Their whispers corrode, but your water cleanses. Their fear limits them, but your flow multiplies into abundance. History itself echoes this pattern. Teresa de Avila, a mystic reformer of the 16th century, was mocked and resisted by church leaders who feared her visions and reforms. Yet her writings reshaped Catholic spirituality for centuries. She once wrote, "Christ has no body now but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours." Doesn't her testimony mirror yours, that when God cultivates a gift, He intends it to become an answer, not a decoration? And isn't it sobering that those who ridiculed her eventually became footnotes to the story her obedience wrote? And just as she stood unmoved, your journey proves that heaven builds cathedrals not out of stone, but out of endurance. The resistance you face today may be the very proof that your words will echo long after theirs fall silent. Even in music, this truth resounds. In Bach's Mass in B minor, the Dona Nobis Pacem swells not as a soft lullaby, but as a triumphant decree of peace forged through conflict. Like your journey, it was born from tension. Yet it rose into harmony so profound, it still shakes hearts centuries later. Your life, too, is a living symphony built from dissonance, yet destined to resolve into a sound that cannot be silenced. And what is music but proof that fire can refine chaos into beauty? Doesn't it reveal that heaven's architecture always turns discord into resonance? Your very existence is a composition written in heaven's scale, and the world cannot mute a note God Himself composed. Your scars become percussion, your prayers, the melody, your resilience, the crescendo. So rise. Chosen one, do not waste your gaze on circles of envy when multitudes wait for your breakthrough. Do not let the trembling of their fear rob you of the authority of your fire. Your gift was never designed to decorate, it was destined to deliver. Step into the room, not to be seen, but to be used. Walk with the certainty that your scars are evidence. Your silence is authority, and your gift is heaven's answer, walking in flesh. Stand tall now, for the earth is waiting for you to declare what only you can release. And when you do, the same heavens that forged you will thunder their approval, saying, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." Isaiah 54:17. Do not waste precious oil on empty arguments when your assignment is to pour it on wounds crying for healing. Oil in Scripture was never for debates, it was for anointing, consecrating, and restoring. Is anyone among you sick? Let them call the elders of the church to pray over them and anoint them with oil in the name of the Lord. James 5:14. Isn't it astonishing that your very essence has been crafted not for sparring with critics, but for soothing the broken? What good is it to prove your point when God designed you to prove His power? The fragrance of oil was always stronger when poured out. And so too, your gift only multiplies when released, not when hoarded in disputes. Every time you resist arguing, You preserve the strength needed to heal those desperate for your touch. Do not waste the sacred fire inside you on petty feuds when it was designed to blaze paths for the wandering and ignite hope for the lost. Fire has always symbolized purification and direction. From Moses before the burning bush to the tongues of fire that fell at Pentecost. Our God is a consuming fire, Hebrews 12:29. Why would you squander divine flame on fueling quarrels, when its true purpose is to burn away deception and clear roads for destiny? Just as wildfires can clear forests of decay to allow new growth, so your fire was given to dismantle lies and make way for truth. Have you noticed how quickly some try to drag you into needless battles? Because deep down they fear the clarity your flame brings. Yet the more they resist, the brighter your fire reveals what cannot remain hidden. Not everyone will understand you, but those appointed to your path will recognize you without needing explanation. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Isn't it profound that recognition comes not through arguments but through resonance of spirit? The ones meant for you will see the light in your eyes, hear the weight in your words, and feel the authority in your silence. Others may pass judgment, but destiny-connected souls will sense alignment. Just as migrating birds know instinctively when to follow the leader through storms and shifting winds, so too, those designed to walk with you will not question. They will simply follow the pull of God on your life. Doesn't it move you to realize you are not here for everyone, but for someone specific heaven already marked for your path? When that moment arrives, and the weight of your assignment collides with the recognition of those who need you, remember this truth: your mission was never about applause. How can you believe since you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from the only God? John 5:44. Claps fade. 2. But transformed lives endure. What you carry is not entertainment, but eternal investment. Your gift is meant to plant seeds where famine has reigned, to heal bodies and hearts that medicine and words failed to touch, to build structures of hope in wastelands of despair, and to free captives bound in chains no hand could break. Doesn't it shake you to realize that the very weight that once made you weep is the same strength others will one day thank you for? And yes, those who once whispered behind closed doors will be forced to admit what they saw and felt. Their silence will turn into reluctant confession, not because they chose honesty, but because truth cannot be denied forever. Like Pharaoh in Exodus, who hardened his heart against God's command, only to be broken by the plagues he could not resist. Those who plotted against you will meet the consequence of resisting heaven's design. No weapon forged against you will prevail, and you will refute every tongue that accuses you. Isaiah 54:17. Isn't it ironic that their very efforts to silence you will become the evidence that your gift was real all along? Their gossip will be drowned by testimonies of those your obedience set free. By then, their fear, envy, or intimidation will no longer matter, because your gift will be too busy transforming lives to stop for explanations. Like rivers flowing from a high mountain, your influence will carve valleys, nurture lands, and sustain generations long after resistance has withered. Out of his heart will flow rivers of living water. John 7:38. Have you noticed how rivers never pause for the rocks that try to block them? They simply reshape the landscape until the obstacles lose their power. So too, your gift will outlast criticism, overpower resistance, and overwhelm deception. Because what God has ignited cannot be extinguished by man. So stand, chosen one. Stand not for applause but for assignment, not for recognition but for transformation. Lift your head high, because what you carry is heaven's weapon, heaven's balm, heaven's strategy wrapped in human form. Do not bend under the weight of whispers, for the earth is waiting for your roar. This is not the season to shrink, it is the season to pour, to blaze, to heal, to free. Rise, for your time is now, and nothing in hell or earth can halt what heaven has ordained. We have walked through the mystery of why your rare gift unsettles others, why your very presence causes ripples in the atmosphere, and why so many struggle to handle what you carry. The truth is clear, your gift is not ordinary. It was forged in fire, cultivated in silence, and released at the perfect time by the hand of God. That is why it feels threatening to those around you, because it unmasks what is hidden, confronts what is false, and reveals what others wish to bury. Yet what they interpret as a threat is, in heaven's eyes, a healing balm, a guiding fire, and a light destined to transform lives. It has never been about you seeking attention. It has always been about God appointing you to carry something the world desperately needs. As Jesus said in Matthew 5:14, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." Light cannot apologize for shining, and you cannot apologize for carrying what heaven placed within you. Yes, some will be unsettled, but that's only because truth never leaves things the same. What does light do when it enters a room? It forces the shadows to flee. That is your assignment. Your very existence becomes the proof that God is still moving on the earth. So, what if others misunderstand you? So what if their words sting or their silence grows heavy? Did Joseph's brothers not despise his dreams? Only for those very dreams to carry the key to their survival. Genesis 50:20 reminds us, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." What they reject today, they will need tomorrow. And when that moment comes, your gift will not gloat, it will serve, heal, and restore, because that is the nature of divine assignments. Chosen one, you must hold this truth in your heart. Intimidation is evidence, not of your weakness, but of your impact. If you carried nothing significant, no one would tremble. If your voice echoed empty, no one would resist. But because your gift is undeniable, resistance becomes confirmation. Remember Isaiah 41:10, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." You are not standing alone, you are standing backed by heaven's authority. And now, as you go forward, remind yourself that your assignment is far greater than applause. It is about planting seeds in barren soil, healing wounds that medicine cannot reach, building structures of faith in places of ruin, and freeing those bound in chains of fear and despair. As Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Your scars are not disqualifications, they are credentials. Your struggles are not stains, they are testimonies. And your rare gift is not a burden, it is heaven's answer wrapped in your life. So rise boldly. Do not shrink to make others comfortable. Do not dim your light so others can remain in shadows. Do not let whispers of envy make you question what God has already affirmed. Like David facing Goliath, what you carry may look small in the world's eyes, but it carries a weight that giants cannot withstand. Like Esther stepping into the throne room, your presence may feel risky, but it holds the power to shift destiny for many. And like the apostles at Pentecost, your fire is not ornamental, it is transformational. If this message has been spoken to you, take a moment right now to engage like this video. Share it so others can be strengthened. And comment 777 below as your declaration that you accept your assignment and embrace your gift. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next word that heaven is releasing for your journey. I also want to pause and give my deepest thanks to every single one of you who supports this channel, whether through your prayers, your shares, or through the super thanks option. Whether you've given or not, you are valued, you are seen, and your presence here is a blessing to this growing community of chosen ones around the world. So I leave you with this final blessing. May the Lord keep you bold in the face of opposition, steadfast in the midst of envy, and radiant in the presence of darkness. May your rare gift not only protect you, but propel you. Not only guard you, but guide you into rooms you never thought you'd enter. And may you walk in the confidence that you were chosen not by accident, but by design, for such a time as this. Rise, chosen one. The world cannot silence what heaven has anointed.